You're looking light all over. You're looking good to me. Looking good. You're looking Pepsi Light, and it's just 1 calorie. Looking light, tasting Pepsi Light. Refreshing 'cause it's lemony. Looking Pepsi Light. With its 1 calorie. Looking Pepsi Light.
Today's episode is about a single Instagram post that stopped me in my tracks. It's from an account called Explaining a Movie, and the caption reads, "How one Smith song gave Ferris Bueller its unexpected heartbeat. John Hughes used a remix of the Smiths' Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want during the Art Institute scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it changes the rhythm completely of the film. After an hour of rebellion and motion, the city pauses. Cameron stares at Syrah's Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte, the frame dissolving. He gets closer and closer into pointless dots as the song swells. For a brief moment, the comedy becomes a meditation on time, beauty, and how youth slips quietly into adulthood." This is still the caption. Hughes said, "The sequence was meant as a love letter to Chicago's art museum. The Smiths' yearning melody does what dialogue can't, bridging Ferris's freedom and Cameron's fear. It's the soul of the film hidden inside a pop song." And I just went,
yeah. I felt so dumb when I read that. Right. I felt so stupid.
And also grateful. Like, yes, I couldn't believe that I didn't pick up on that so specifically, because actually there are several slides to this post that go deeper into the analysis of Cameron in particular. But just the basic analysis of it, that this one song and this one scene gives the movie its heartbeat. It's what separates it from Porky's, right? It elevates it so much higher than any of those other teenage films. And for me, this is a masterclass in the character of Cameron, who we love. Everybody loves Cameron, but we really don't know him that well. And when you dig into what this scene does, you're like, what is Cameron looking at? What does this teach us about Cameron? And it's all about that painting. Do you guys remember that painting?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. We've all seen it at the art museum together too. But it's mind-boggling, mind-blowing. It's all so for the listeners, the Island of it's so hard to say, Island of La Grande Jatte by Syrah. Everything is about families or mother and child. Mm-hmm. And Cameron, of course, is missing his mother. Where is his mother? And he has this neglectful dad. And this really isn't talked about that much in the movie, but this is the moment that we kind of feel Cameron. We feel for him, but we're not really sure why. But it kind of explains so much about who he is. And he's alone. This is also when they're separated at the art museum. Cameron is all by himself because Ferris and Sloane are canoodling in front of Marc Chagall's stained glass art. Yeah, I was about to say that there, to just kind of put another nail in the coffin, Ferris and Sloane are kissing.
Yeah.
And it's like in shadow. Yeah. It's really beautiful. I also, I did not think of this until I read this comment. Like, this did not cross my mind in the, tens of times I've seen that movie. And I've always loved that scene, but damn, it's so deep. It makes a ton of sense. And then I started taking it further. Then I started because I then, went on YouTube and I watched that scene a couple of times. And then I started doing, a PhD level contemplation on it, because, then it takes the scene. And I think even sometimes at the art museum, they just call it Sunday afternoon. They don't go into the whole fridge thing. But anyway, you focus then a little bit more. So you see more dots, and then you focus closer on Cameron's face. Then it focuses closer on the dots. So now you can't really tell it's a face. You just see a whole bunch of big dots. Then you focus closer on Cameron's face. Beautifully done, the way they go back and forth. Well, you finally get to the most enlarged little section of that painting, and it's just a mess of dots, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're really close on Cameron's face. But in my mind, I was like, look at all, it's almost like chaos, right? Like all these dots don't make any sense when they are that zoomed in. But when you pull back
all that chaos becomes this beautiful picture. And that also made me think that's kind of Cameron as well, right? Like inside, internally, and we see this through different actions of his for sure in the movie. He has a lot of chaos inside, right?
Yeah.
But on the external, he's kind of this cool, he's kind
buddy.
of put together.
He's the buddy. Yeah.
And I have no idea if that is supposed to be like anything, but that's then, like I said, I kind of kept going further with it.
Well, a couple things. One, I think that's what real art is that it makes you think and feel, and whether or not John Hughes went in with that being a goal of it, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if that's what you took from it, which is very deep and profound, I think that's what art really is. And Kristen, you said this a few minutes ago, and I totally agree in that we maybe didn't know. We couldn't articulate what we were witnessing, but we felt it somewhere. Yeah. We knew what this meant in some cellular level with the music. I mean, that is such a big part of this scene is that, and I didn't know the song, and I had to go listen to it with the lyrics and all of that. So I guess if you knew the lyrics even, it makes this even a little bit deeper. But just the choice of that, what do I want to say? Just that tune and the way it was played, you just felt something. And I couldn't articulate it then, and I obviously can't really articulate it now, but you knew what it was saying on some level. And now, as adults, what a gift these movies are, not just this movie, but all of John Hughes's movies and a lot of these Gen X movies, is that we can go back and watch them with different eyes, with eyes of parents and adults. And remember, these filmmakers were adults who were once kids. So it's made as just as much, I think, for us, and a good reason for us to go back and revisit not just this movie, but a lot of those that hit us one way when we were younger and can totally hit us a different way now. Again, great art.
Well, and it elevates the role of nostalgia too, because what you're saying is when we look at it in our 50s, we are able to look back at our own coming of age with wisdom and poignancy, and it's allowing us to look at Ferris Bueller, and it's not just funny ha-ha, and it's not irrelevant, and it still applies to us today because we get to look at ourselves and our relationships in this way that John Hughes is making us look at Ferris and Sloane and Cameron. This moment, it just stops the movie entirely. And the music was so melancholy, but it was but it wasn't a sad scene. It was, there needs to be a word for it. It was like
introspective, kind of. I feel
so
like,
introspective.
And the song is so beautiful. I've loved that song. When I've seen Ferris Bueller, I've recognized that it's the Smith song, but I haven't really thought that it was this kind of different instrumental version. I think maybe in my head, I was like, maybe the lyrics haven't started yet. I don't know. But by choosing that song with Kristen, like you said, this part of the movie that stops everything, I didn't realize back then, and I don't know that I even realized until I read this comment, how every choice John Hughes made, and probably in all of his movies, from a piece of music to the location to the direction he's given, has purpose, and it's very intentional. And this one, for sure. And I think for many, many people, this whole museum scene, if you ask them, like, what's your favorite part of Ferris Bueller? A lot of people are going to say, oh, when he's on the float or whatever. But I would argue that I think the museum scene is probably most people's favorite, and maybe they didn't really know why. But maybe it was hitting them on a different level, Carolyn, sort of like you said, the art of it, the just all about it. And there's definitely comical parts in that scene too. Like where they all, one of my favorites is at the beginning, and the string of like the kindergarten class is going through holding hands. And then at the end, it's the three of them.
Ferris and Sloane and Cameron holding hands with the kindergartners. It's like a combination of, I think one reason it's our favorite is because it's this melange of feelings that is
sweet and sad, but you're not sure why you're sad.
Yeah,
and you're happy for Sloane and Ferris, but you're feeling sad for Cameron that he's the third wheel and he's having this moment with this painting, and you know it's personal, and yet you are loving the song. So it's like the kind of sadness that you want to experience over and over and over again. Yeah. And it also makes me reflect on, and I don't know if I did this at the time or not. I feel like I did, where it's this poignant moment that sort of emerges from teenage shenanigans, right? The whole movie is teenage shenanigans. And then you have this moment, which is so accurate, because I had those moments when, you're in the middle of a Saturday night and the Saturday night is full of like getting stuck in the snow or puking in the snow or running naked in the snow. And
it sounds like she might have some memories coming out there.
I had a very John Hughes-esque adolescence, which I now realize is sort of a rarity. And I would get this feeling like, this is it. Yeah. This is it. This is my adolescence, and it will never be like this ever again. And it was almost like I was an observer of my own life. I'm watching these girls with big hair falling down in the snow underneath the car, and I'm like, you're going to run over her. Right? It's just like all of these things. It could be like a movie of my life, and I would be able to stand back and say, this is it. This doesn't happen in adulthood. This only happens right now.
Right. And I think that's kind of what that scene, we felt that in our bodies in that scene, because like you were saying, Michelle, when they're, holding hands and doing the field trip thing, we know like that's the childlike thing. That's what we did when we were kids and we'd go on a field trip. And yet you're in this museum, right? Which is a very adult place to be. And I mean, Cameron is standing, studying a piece of art, like kind of what you're supposed to do at an art museum, like really look at it and contemplate it. And you kind of feel that feeling of it's the end of a certain part of, life, maybe like childhood is kind of ending and you're moving into this different part. And with the music and the way that I think the three of us feel, and we're feelers. I think that we probably felt that on some level. And I'm very nostalgic for my childhood sometimes. And I too, like you, Kristen, can kind of step back sometimes and go, oh, this isn't going to last. Like a few years from now, I can't get away with whatever, puking in the snow or running naked. This is kind of that transition time. And, there's a sadness to that. I mean, a reality, but a sadness at the same time.
Yeah, you have to let go of something that you're really enjoying. And yet you could be moving into something that is so sweet and beautiful, like Sloane and Ferris coming together. Like they're becoming adults. Will they stay together? We don't know. But they're moving into this adult part of their life while the sadness unfolds at the same time. It's just so confusing and beautiful.
Is another part of the scene that everybody loves. And we love it so much that, listeners, we recreated it in Chicago in August of 2021. And I will post those this week, either on social media or in the Weekly Reader. We have masks on the whole time. So there's a timestamp on it because all three of us are wearing masks. But think about it. The beginning of that scene is the three of them doing the poses that we recreated at the Chicago, at the Art Institute, where they're standing with their arms crossed, all kind of staggered looking. Then it's just from the back of them, looking. And then boom, next scene, it's Ferris and Sloane in silhouette together without Cameron. And then boom, it's Cameron standing with just kind of, and like I said earlier, it keeps getting closer and closer on his face. And he has just the most, I don't even know, forlorn maybe look on his face as he's staring at that picture, kind of like, oh.
Like he's trying to figure it out.
Like that picture stopped him in his tracks. Right. So we start with all three of them, childlike, like you said, Carolyn, because when it starts, they're all in the little chain of kindergartners. And then they're kind of doing the funny poses, all three of them together. And then boom, there we have the couple off by the side, by themselves. And then Cameron. Do you guys remember when we were at the Art Institute? Listeners, we were with our friend Shane, and he had flown all the way from Northern California to Chicago to join us for this. We were there for a Sean Cassidy concert at City Winery. And we did the pictures, but then we had Shane do the Cameron where he's standing by himself looking at Sunday in the park. Yeah.
And it's also, this is just coming to me now, I'm realizing that when they say that this was John Hughes's tribute or his ode to the Art Institute, because it is such an important marker in that city. It's part of the city's identity. And a part of the identity of that museum is that painting. So that painting is like the size of a wall. And so it's very common to see people walk straight up to it and get their nose right up to it because they want to see the pointillism. They want to see the little dots. And so what Cameron is doing is what every person who walks into that room does. And so that's like him paying tribute to every person who has ever done this in this space. But we get the opportunity, because of him focusing on Cameron's face, it gives us the opportunity to get into Cameron's head.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And we're like, what is he feeling?
And with that music and everything, it's just really genius. I mean, I think there's no other word you can use to describe, John Hughes and other directors during that time who really had some movies that hit us then and do now. And I wanted to share. So I was kind of thinking about these movies and going back and watching them through my adult eyes, and would I take anything different from them? And I kind of did a little research on Gen X movies. What could they tell us now? And I was probably blown away with this takeaway. This was about Back to the Future. We thought Marty was fixing time when he's going back, but he's actually fixing generational patterns. It's literally a movie about cycle breaking.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Of course it is.
Oh my God.
Of course it is. Duh.
But now, because of all of our therapy we have the language for that.
Oh
we
my
can
gosh.
see that.
Oh my God.
Right?
Because then we get Cameron at the end of the movie. We get the confessional from Cameron. We don't know him very well. We just know he's the fun buddy and he's a little bit of a wet blanket, but we really love him. And then we get this opportunity to see something's happening in his head. And then we get that moment after the car has gone over the cliff. I hope I have this chronology right, where Cameron kind of has his meltdown and he explains how difficult his life is. And we do learn that his family situation kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have anyone looking out for him. And he has all this wealth and all of this money. And it does nothing for him because he doesn't have any people caring for him. And so then when you relate it back to this painting of all of these families in the park, and you're like, Cameron just wants to go to the park with his family.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, in this Instagram post, I kind of went through and read some of the comments. You guys also, actually, before I start that, I have 2 comments, and the second one I'm going to read is the perfect way to end it.
Okay.
The whole episode. So do you guys have anything else you're wanting to say, or is that pretty good?
How are we doing for time? What did we...
I don't have a time on mine right now.
Let's see. We pretty much started...
Oh my God, we've only been recording for 18 minutes.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, we talked for a long time.
We did talk for a long time. Yeah. That's only 18 minutes of recording?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Well, we can put some music and stuff in, but maybe what you're going to say is going to prompt some more.
It will prompt some more, yeah.
Yeah, it will. Totally will. Okay, so in this Instagram post that, like Kristen said, prompted this whole discussion, there were some pretty good comments, and I wanted to share 2 of them with you. The first one I just think is a fun fact, and y'all know how much I love Pretty in Pink, and it says, the original version of this song, the non-instrumental, is used in Pretty in Pink. It's when Ducky is playing it on a small radio in his room while he's talking to Andy on the phone. And then, of course, I was like, of course it is. Yes, because it's please, please, please get,
let me get what I want.
But I love stuff like that. And then you have to wonder, did he do that? And was that intentional?
Of course. We go back and just watch these movies and just purposely listen to the music that's playing in the background. Because again, we absorbed it, whether we could articulate that we absorbed it. It was getting into us subconsciously, whatever.
Yes.
So it affects how we viewed the scene, how we felt about Ducky, all the things. They're so smart, those men.
Love it. It's like, and so when we bring it back to the Art Institute, we should look up those lyrics right now, because even if they weren't present, I swear we know what they're trying to say anyway. In the museum scene, we're experiencing what it is that each of those characters want. And so Ferris and Sloane are
they want each other. They want love. They want to grow up and be together. And Cameron, what does he want? He just wants to go to the park with his family. He just wants somebody to care about him. Like, he can't even get to the place where Ferris and Sloane are. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a significant other. And it's going to be very hard to get to that place if you don't have relationships with your family. If you don't feel loved by your family, how do you make relationships? And so that's how we sort of see him as a loner. And then even the childhood to adulthood thing, please let me get what I want. Do I want to be a child? They're clearly loving walking with those kindergartners holding hands.
Right. That's such a hard part of growing up.
Yes.
You're torn. Like I'm going to go back even a little bit. When you're playing with Barbies, but you're not sure if you should be playing with Barbies. Yes. You're at that like middle school.
Close the door. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was me yesterday. Yeah. No, just kidding. Okay, I've got the lyrics. And of course, we know these lyrics.
Yeah.
Of course, we know these lyrics. And there's only like 4 verses of this whole song. Fits perfectly in Ducky when he's talking on the phone to Andy, because we all know how Ducky felt about Andy. And even without the lyrics, this fits for this scene. Good times for a change. I'm not going to try to sing it because this is such a beautiful song. I'm not going to do it justice. No. So, yeah. Excuse me, everyone. Me. No. Good times for a change. See, the luck I've had can make a good man turn bad.
So, for once in my life, let me get what I want. Lord knows it would be the first time. Lord knows it would be the first time.
It's like Cameron's theme.
Mic drop. Mic drop. For both. Yes, for Cameron, right then. The luck I've had can make a good man turn bad. So please, please, please let me get what I want this time. And we also all know how he feels about Sloane.
Yeah.
Let's not even forget that.
Maybe the song came first and then the movie came.
I wish you could have seen Carolyn and Kristen when I said that. They both, right after the word Sloane came out of my mouth, listeners, they both just like covered their faces.
Yes. I seriously have tears in my eyes
right now.
I'm crying for a little
Can we get him on the podcast?
Can we get both of them?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking John Hughes probably had some girls in his life when he was growing up that he just couldn't get.
100% John Hughes was that person. Like you can't pull those feelings out of nowhere. You don't. Exactly. That doesn't come from your imagination.
Right. No, exactly.
It comes from your experience.
Well,
100%.
I think we need to get Alan Ruck on the podcast and have him dissect this scene with us and just Cameron. I mean, because you guys watched Succession, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had moments in Succession that were very Cameron-like.
He did.
And probably on purpose.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I think like they know exactly who's watching Succession, how old we are, what we watched before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be really interesting because again, he was a teenager when he did the movie. So, obviously now on the other end of being an adult, what he knew then versus what he thinks of that scene now, and has that knowledge and feeling evolved as he's
that would be a really good conversation, actually.
Wouldn't that be great? That's a great way at coming at Ferris Bueller, because oftentimes, listeners, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but oftentimes we don't take our topic won't be something that is so ubiquitous and so well known. Because you already know it. You already know Ferris Bueller. We don't have to recap that movie for you. You know it by heart. So, what would we do about Ferris Bueller? Yeah. But this, a conversation with Cameron about Cameron and this beautiful story that is probably backstory that John Hughes never intended for us to know completely. It just has to be present in order for Alan Ruck to create the character. And so I would love to know from Alan Ruck. I'm like, I don't know if I call him Alan Ruck or Cameron. I would love to know, as a teenager, like, what backstory did he have about this kid? And does he know more than we do? Does he know something about John Hughes that made him create this character? And as a kid, was he able to embody that? I mean, by our standards, he did. Sure. We felt so much for that kid. We loved him.
Well, and
like
ask
it was
him,
his movie.
It did.
Yeah. Oh, yes. But it was as much his movie. Yeah.
We all know what longing for something is, when we're no matter what, when we're young little kids, when we're adolescents, when we're college age adults, all those things, longing is a universal feeling that I think, was captured in that moment. And yeah, I think that at the end of the day, John Hughes, if he was still with us, would maybe say, this is exactly what my goal was with this movie. And you guys are the smartest people I've ever met. And
that's what I was about to say. I wonder if Alan Ruck, it would be interesting to ask him if, like us, he ingested Cameron's character in a different way when he was a teenager than he does now. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of I was internally chuckling at myself because I was thinking he might go, damn, you guys know, I've never thought of it that way. Like, wow, you guys really went deep with this, didn't you?
I just memorized the lines.
That's right. All right, so if anyone knows Alan Ruck, please
send him our way.
Get him on the line and tell him he has an open invitation to discuss the philosophical, philosophical, what do I want to say? Just meaning behind.
Yeah, behind Cameron at the art museum. Yeah. I want to go give him a hug right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think this other comment that I flagged is the perfect way to end this conversation, and I think you guys are going to agree. This came from a man, and he said, "I'm 54 now. I saw this film when it came out. Sometimes over the past X number of years, I've been Ferris, living life, getting the most from every moment. And sometimes, most times, since I've been older, in fact, I've been Cameron, seeing the other side of the coin and life. And the feeling you have in your youth that the whole world is yours has now passed you by. I still remember, though, maybe even more so, that life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it."
It's like the fourth time I got goosebumps during this episode.
Right? Yeah.
Everybody,
good lesson.
Let's raise our glasses for a toast, courtesy of the cast of Three's Company, to good times.
To happy days.
To Little House on the Prairie. Cheers.
Cheers.
The information, opinions, and comments expressed on the Pop Culture Preservation Society podcast belong solely to Carolyn, the Crushologist, and Hello Newman, and are in no way representative of our employers or affiliates. And though we truly believe we are always right, there is always a first time. The PCPS is written, produced, and recorded in Minneapolis, Minnesota, home of the fictional WJM Studios and our beloved Mary Richards. Nanu Nanu, keep on truckin', and may the force be with you.